Yeah, I know that's got to be exciting when you get to finally hitch them up and see what they can do on the team. But you know, you mentioned success, and obviously you want the timing to be right so they are successful, they enjoy it, and they want to do it again. How do you know when that moment is right to graduate them? Dogs are setting the pace, the rest of the team falls in behind. All the dogs back here are freaking out. Pick me, I want to go. But don't worry, they'll get their chance. And now, if you look on your screen, we can show you some tape of what it looks like to be out there. It's just this year's growth. There's no carryover. Wild caribou are doing very well in Alaska, by the way, 750,000 to 1 million of them typically in the count, in 32 distinct herds. Domesticated reindeer are not indigenous, and they know how to leave on cue. Juice, soda, and lemonade are another option. Third desk. And if you decide to visit our trading post at the back of deck 2, be sure to let that curtain over.
And the last dog coming over is Pippa. He's going to be the other lead dog. And I am so glad you had a chance to see the dogs get ready for their run, because that enthusiasm and mental maturing to do, but we're excited for his progress as he grows up. We've got Muffin as our mature lady out here. She's 9 years old. She's actually Waltz's mother. She's a great lead dog. She's raced with Mike. We're hoping her characteristics get passed on. And you can continue to introduce yourself to more of the dogs as you look around at the names on their houses. We do name them all, and we utilize the alphabet to do so. Every litter of puppies is assigned a letter of the alphabet, and then every pup within the litter will have a name that starts with that corresponding letter. So Muffin and Mudflap, Vulture and Victor, Yuri and Umiak. The puppies who you were holding, they do not have their official names yet. We usually wait till they're old enough to show personality traits so we can find them just the right name. I can tell you that we're working on names right now for the letter Y. So if you have ideas for us, we'd love to add them to our list. And sometimes people think they're going to be able to keep a puppy for a souvenir. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, because we actually never sell the dogs we breed while they're puppies. We keep them all until they're fully mature, physically and mentally, which is about 2 years of age. The puppies remain together as a group playing in the puppy pen until they're about 6 months old. And then they get their own dog house. 6 months old is also when they start to run and harness the way the dogs are doing today. The puppies from last summer, like Waltz, they're their own team at this point. They're the Little League team. Their runs are short, not far from home. The pups from 2 summers ago, they move up to the junior varsity team. The runs go longer, they go camping, and then the adult dogs are the varsity team. And you might want to ask me, well, does every puppy you raise end up on the varsity team? And awesome. Up front we have Whiplash and Wingman, then Vinyl, Chicky, E Street, and Elvis. That's the team today. And I'm not sure if I mentioned the ages of the dogs as they were hooking up. Up front, Whiplash and Wingman, those guys are 11 years old. Chicky is 3. We've got Vinyl is 4. So in the summer we combine the Little League, Junior Varsity, and Varsity teams all together, because the older, more experienced dogs, they can literally demonstrate what we're looking for from the young ones. They know what the turning commands are, and they know how to cross the creeks with confidence. So they can help us to coach the young dogs throughout the summertime. You also probably did notice that the motor was running as Mike took off with the dogs. We do use the engine to assist in the summer. Sometimes it's helping the dogs, other times it's holding them back. They're really targeting a consistent pace, 9 or 10 miles an hour. That's the speed we look for the dogs to run during training and racing. So setting that speed all summer long.